2026. Please note the same rules apply to this hearing. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over to Jennifer Bruno, Council Executive Director.
An additional public hearing on the CRA budget will be held on June 3rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Jen. Taylor? Thank you, Jen. Taylor, please start with the first commenter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak to this item.
Thank you. I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer the item to a new public hearing on June 3rd, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Lopez Chavez and a second from Councilmember Dugan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Pui absent. This concludes our CRA board meeting. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn as a CRA board, convene as the Salt Lake City Council.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Lopez Chavez and a second from Wharton. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Pui absent. Now we are finally convened as the body of the Salt Lake City Council. Okay. Thank you again to everyone who's joining us tonight. As a reminder of our public comment registration process, individuals may register to comment on scheduled public hearing items up until the hearing closes. For the general comment section, we accept signups until 7:30 p.m. The general comment section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and will only include commenters who register before 7:30. So if you're here to give general comments, please sign up and remember that it is possible not everyone who signed up may get to speak. This brings us to item F2, approving the formal meeting minutes of April 1st, 2025. I'll look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Wharton and a second from Dugan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously with Pui absent. Our next item is F3. The council will consider adopting a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Mendenhall celebrating June 2025 as Pride Month. I'll turn the time over to Councilwoman Lopez Chavez, who will read the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joint ceremonial resolution celebrating June 2025 as Pride Month in Salt Lake City. Whereas the month of June is traditionally recognized as Pride Month in commemoration of the Stonewall riots of 1969, a moment that's considered to be among the most important events leading to the gay liberation movement and the modern fight for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer plus rights in the United States. And whereas Pride Month celebrates and recognizes a community that includes people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, two-spirit, pansexual, asexual, gender fluid, non-binary, intersex, as well as all allies. And whereas Salt Lake City acknowledges that the LGBTQ plus community, and in particular, Indigenous, Black, other queer people of color, and transgender individuals have faced and continue to face systematic discrimination, including restricted rights, social stigma, challenges accessing healthcare, housing, and other essential social services, and startling rates of violence. And whereas Salt Lake City has a proud history of leading the state and many other cities across the nation in enacting policies and programs that stand against discrimination and promote equity, opportunity, and prosperity for all members of the LGBTQ plus community, regardless of their race, religion, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And whereas Pride Month will be a celebration of the LGBTQ plus community that makes up our great city, and a reminder to remain diligent and committed in our efforts to ensure full equity, inclusion, and empowerment for every member of our LGBTQ plus community. And whereas during the first week of June, the Utah Pride Center, a community space for all LGBTQ plus Utahns, will host a celebration of the LGBTQ plus community with events and festivities, including the annual Utah Pride Parade. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City recognize June 2025 as Pride Month in Salt Lake City. Be it further resolved, Salt Lake City encourages and welcomes all residents and visitors to embrace Pride Month's message of equity and unity and to enjoy its celebrations this June in peace, safety, and love.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lopez Chavez. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Wharton and a second from Lopez Chavez. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously with Pui absent. I'd like to welcome Chad Call, Executive Director of the Utah Pride Center, here with us today to receive the resolution. Thank you for being here. We have the podium. Hang on one
Mayor.
second. I don't, is this, okay, go ahead.
We good now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and mayor and esteemed guests. My name is Chad Call, and I have the great honor of serving our community as the executive director of the Utah Pride Center. Tonight, I not only speak on behalf of the center, but on behalf of LGBTQ individuals across our entire state. While our mission at the Utah Pride Center and our reach span from border to border of our state, our heart and our home remain right here in Salt Lake City. This is where our headquarters are at, and it's where, just outside these doors, we will host Utah's largest Pride celebration. Though each of you have been elected to represent and serve Salt Lake City, your leadership shines far beyond these city limits in times like these. It stands as a beacon of hope for our LGBTQ Utahns in every corner of our state. They see you. They see the brave, principled stances you take, not just for what's popular, but for what's right. This year's Pride theme is radical love, and I can't think of a more fitting sentiment to describe what this resolution represents tonight. Some may suggest resolutions like this are merely symbolic or ceremonial, that they may lack real impact. And to that I say, yes, this is a symbol, but symbols matter. Symbols remind people they are seen. They show our youth there's a future for them here. They remind our elders that the decades of work and protest mattered. And they tell every person visiting Salt Lake City during Pride Month that this is a place where they are welcomed and celebrated. It's no small thing to see this body pass a resolution like this in a year where our community has faced unprecedented number of legislative attacks, both locally and nationally. It brings real hope to see leaders choosing visibility, dignity, and love. That takes courage, and I want you to know that it matters. It matters to the teenagers out there just starting to understand who they are. It matters to parents in our communities who are raising their next generation with courage and care. And it matters to our elders who have spent their lives fighting for the rights we hold today. So on behalf of Utah's LGBTQ community, thank you. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for leading with integrity. And thank you for continuing to make Salt Lake City a beacon of inclusion for all of Utah. And let me be the first to wish each of you a happy Pride Month. Thank you.
Mr. Call, would you and your guests like to come up and take a picture?
Oh, can we go into the hall?
Sure. Oh, we would like to amend the request to go out in front of the coolest flags in the state.
I'm sad that I'm not there.
We miss you too, Councilmember Pui.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your patience in allowing us to do that. Okay, this now brings us to the public hearing section of our agenda. These are specific proposals before the council that require a public hearing. Your comments should pertain to the hearing item, and if you go off topic, we will ask you to stop your comment. Our meeting rules apply to hearing comments as well. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling. They are not helpful in creating a respectful or safe environment. To sign up to comment on any of the hearing items, please register online or turn in a comment card to the in-person staff. We accept signups until the hearing item is closed. We will be calling the names in the order of signup. If you are on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or on Zoom for staff assistance. If you're having technical issues in Zoom, our staff member, Daffodil Buchert, can assist you. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, please notify council staff who will assist you. Our first public hearings are for grant applications, items G1 to G4, which will be heard as one public hearing. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn time over to Sylvia Richards, Council Staff Policy Analyst, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The city periodically applies for and receives grants which fund some city programs. Each grant will receive a public hearing. This gives the council and the public an opportunity to learn about the grants. There are 4 grants tonight, and first is the Victims of Crime Act grant. If approved, funds would be used to hire 50% of two full-time victim advocates and 80 to 90% of 4 part-time victim advocates. The Unified Police Department will be working with other agencies to improve services for victims of violent crimes. Second is the Bonneville Shoreline Trailhead Land Purchase Grant. If approved, funds would preserve land to continue trail connection, provide ability for trailhead facilities, and protect winter habitat for elk and other mammals. Third is the School Age Quality Grant. If approved, the grant would be used to fund salary and benefits for 18 existing youth program instructors, as well as programming for kindergarten through 6th grade children at 6 youth city sites during out of school time. And fourth is the Teen After School Prevention Grant. If approved, the grant would be used to fund salary and benefits for 2 existing FTEs and 6 existing part-time positions. Additionally, the grant would fund after-school programming for teens attending high school and middle school at 3 youth city sites plus the city and county building. Again, these are items for which were applied for by the city.
Thank you, Sylvia. Taylor, please start with the first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak to these items.
I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer items G1 through G4 to a future consent agenda for action.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dugan and a second from Young. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is Councilmember Pui still online? Should we be waiting for him?
But I believe he is online.
Councilmember Pui, did you want to vote?
Yes. Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, that passes unanimously. We'll move on to item G5, which is an ordinance for the library budget amendment number 2 for fiscal year 24-25. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over to Austin Kimmel, Council Policy Analyst, for a short introduction.
Here, in its annual budget, the library estimates the property tax increment it will receive over the next 12 months. Then, in a budget amendment, which is the one before you today, the library adjusts those estimates to the actual amounts received. These are legally required pass-throughs that ultimately go to the Utah Inland Port Authority, the Convention Center Hotel, and the Community Reinvestment Agency of Salt Lake City. Thanks.
Thank you, Austin. Taylor, please call the first commenter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak to this item.
Thank you. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the council close the public hearing and adopt an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2025 final budget of the Salt Lake City Library, including the employment staffing document as proposed.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dugan and a second from Young. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Councilmember Pui? We can't see you. I would take a thumbs up, but I can't see you.
Yes,
so-
yes, sorry.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. Our next public hearing includes items G6 through G20, all ordinances that are associated with the implementation of the mayor's recommended budget for Salt Lake City, including the library fund for fiscal year 25-26. This is our first out of 2 budget public hearings, with a second opportunity scheduled for Tuesday, June 3rd. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn time over to Jennifer Bruno, Council Executive Director, to give an introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The city considers all ordinances relating to the fiscal year budget in one public hearing, as they are all needed collectively to implement the mayor's recommended budget for fiscal year 2026, including the library. Tonight's public hearing addresses ordinances G6 through G17. The various ordinances set property tax rates and budget levels, addresses fees and compensation, among other items. For the public's information and for those who may not be aware, departments in the city are discussed in detail at each of the council's public work sessions through May and June, which typically start at 1 p.m. Recordings of those discussions are available online at the council's website, as are staff reports analyzing each department. More information can be found at tinyurl.com/SLCFY26. And an additional public hearing on the city's annual budget and these related ordinances will be held on June 3rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Jen. Taylor, would you please call the first commenter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have about 12 people registered to speak to these items. The first will be Ian McCubbin, followed by Nathan Peters, and then Kim Pizzuro. Ian, you may now unmute.
Thank you very much. Regarding the mayor's budget, there's a $3 million item for a proposed green loop downtown, and we request that those funds be allocated to addressing the high fire risk in the 6,000 acre foothill natural area. We'd like to elevate the importance and criticality of the threat of urban fires associated with the Salt Lake City owned and operated City Creek Fire Shed and the foothill natural area. For the last 5 years, the city has prioritized investments in the Jordan River over the foothill naturals area. We now see the investment in the green loop as having potentially a similar outcome. Since the start of the Bonneville Trail System in 2018 improvement phases, the neighborhoods around the trailheads have expressed concern to the city about the lack of parking, impact to emergency vehicles accessing our neighborhoods on the foothill open space. To date, nothing has been done to address the high usage, parking issues, or emergency vehicle access. We observe that the trails are used all year round, and we do not see the same level of usage in the downtown parks. We ask why there's a $3 million investment in a green loop downtown when the city is surrounded by a high-use green open space that is at capacity and has had little to no investment in infrastructure. Given the fire risk from the foothill natural area, it would be illogical to invest the funds, the $3 million of funding, into developing a community wildfire protection plan and reevaluating the priority of a $250 million green loop and focusing on where actually our citizens are recreating on a daily basis, walking their dogs, mountain biking, hiking, and what we do not see the same usage at either the Jordan River Trail or in the downtown parks. And so
next will be Nathan Peters, followed by Kim Pizzuro, and then Gary Tedesco. Nathan, you may now unmute.
Thank you. My comments are regarding a CIP proposal that I submitted to implement speed bumps in key areas of Federal Heights. I and many of my neighbors are concerned about speeding in front of our homes and our neighborhood. We get a very high volume of cut-through traffic going to and from the hospital area and the university. and the proposal is to take sensible action to mitigate the risk of speeding vehicles. We frequently have motorists speeding upwards of 40 miles per hour on narrow streets, and it's particularly exacerbated on the downhill areas of our hilly neighborhood. And it's the worst where traffic is unencumbered and there aren't any stop signs in close proximity to these areas. And that's where I coordinated with city engineering to recommend locations for speed bumps throughout the neighborhood, which could be done in a variety of phases depending on appetite. Of course, we have small children ourselves, and many of our neighbors do as well. We implement solutions like these all over our city, and we need to do it here as well to protect our residents and particularly young children. Without funding through a program like this, I understand that it's unlikely that these safety measures would ever be implemented, as the Livable Streets program has essentially deprioritized our neighborhood, and it's near the bottom of the priority list through that program. So I would ask the board to reevaluate the proposal, not as something that's a nice to have, but something we logically need to implement to protect our community and our neighborhood. And Council Member Wharton, I look forward to the opportunity to speak with you on this proposal at our scheduled meeting on May 27th. Thank you for the time.
Next will be Kim Putsuro, followed by Gary Tedesco, and then Robbie Reber. Kim is here in person.
Hello, my name is Kim Puturzo, and I am here to show my support for the CIP program. A program such as this for residents truly makes us feel like you're looking out for us and have our backs. I do have a CIP called Sugar House Safe Side Street North Extension. Even though our CIP was denied, I'd like for ours to be reconsidered. Our neighborhood has been developed. Allow me a moment to give you the development growth of the area. 3,384 units have, in big projects starting on 700 East, Brixton to 1300 East, including all projects under construction or completed and operational. There are about 1,500 more that are planned but haven't broken ground or been permitted. This information came from our Sugar House Property Management. We are located right near the heart of Sugar House. We are very grateful, all 120 of our residents who have signed this petition or have signed for this CIP. We feel very strongly about receiving the support that we really need. Now we have Sugar House Safe Side Street to the south of us. They have calming efforts. To the north of us on 10,000 East, they continue. There are speed bumps. So we're in this strip without, and people think because we have a wide street, it kind of gives you the impression that you can just put the pedal to the metal. We are a side street. We don't always have crazy amounts of traffic, but when we do, it is dangerous. Folks, bicycle.
Time.
We'd love to hear the rest of your thoughts if you want to submit them.
Next will be Gary Tedesco, followed by Robbie Reber, and then Jane Anderson. Gary is here in person.
Good evening. My name is Gary Tedesco. My wife, Mary Jo, we're longtime residents of the University area. In January of 2023, the mayor announced that she's joining the Vision Zero Network, which was a commitment to safe streets. And as I quote, our residents deserve to travel safely to and from our neighborhoods, regardless of what time of day they travel or how they travel. To that end, our CIP request was for traffic calming circles on 12th East, 3rd South, 4th South. These are main traffic arteries between the university and downtown areas, and also main bicycle thoroughfares to and from the university. And as well as, of course, the residents and children and all that kind of stuff going on there. The traffic at the university, to and from the university, has increased dramatically in the last 10, 20 years. I've been there much longer than that. And everyone seems to be in such a hurry. There's very poor visibility at these intersections. In fact, you really have to enter the intersection to see if someone's coming up the hill if they're south or on 4th South. And so traffic circles would go a long way toward mitigating, slowing down that traffic through these intersections, as well as daylighting the intersections so we don't have parked cars right up to the crosswalk. You really do have to walk out into the street to see what's coming. And we contend that public safety is an uncompromisable value, and that the choices demonstrate the underlying values of those who make them. And I think that's it.
The city engineers.
Oh, yeah, the city engineers, when they looked at this, they also recommended raised crosswalks and ADA compliant bump outs. So.
Hi. Next will be Robbie Reber, followed by Jane Anderson, and then Ned Scanchi. Robbie's here in person.
Okay. Hi, I'm Robbie Reber. I go to 6th grade at Indian Hills Elementary. I'm almost in middle school. I just started mountain biking this year, and I really like it. I'm on the East High mountain bike team. I'm not always like biking with my mountain bike team though. I'm also biking with like my friends, and yeah, I would like some trails that we could bike at, because yeah, I also really like hiking. I think it would be nice so hikers could go and see some stuff with having a path to stay on instead of tromping around squashing plants and stuff. Yeah, I would really like some trails. That would be nice. I think that's it. Yeah.
Next will be Jane Anderson, followed by Ned Scanchi, and then Peter Caroon. Jane is here in person.
Hi, I'm Jane Anderson. I'm ending my year at Bonneville in 6th grade, and I'm going to be going into Clayton. I really like mountain biking too. My parents say I need to get exercise a lot because I love playing video games and doing stuff like that. So I like going out, in nature and going on trails and mountain biking. It's more fun than some sports. I like doing soccer, but it just doesn't feel the same for me. So, yeah, it just feels nice just riding through those trails and having fun. And yeah. So, yeah, I would love to have some more trails and stuff. So thank you.
Next will be Ned Scanchi, followed by Peter Caroon, and then Ada Scanchi. Ned is here in person.
Okay, so I'm a coach for the East High mountain bike team, and we ride in the foothills on Shoreline all the time. And a few years ago, the city was about to implement an expansion of the trail system, and it's been paused and studied. And we would just encourage the city to move forward with those trail systems. Often as I talk to people about Salt Lake, one of their comments is often I moved to Salt Lake and I can be on a mountain in 2 traffic lights or something of that nature. So the foothill area is a huge asset to the city. A world-class city should have a world-class trail system. I think the plans are there, and we would encourage the city to move forward with implementing the trail system. Thank you.
To our young residents, especially, Dad, you can hear this too. The mayor wants you to know that you should stay tuned for something on May 28th that you're really going to like.
Next will be Peter Caroon, followed by Ada Scanchi, and then Samuel Rowan. Peter, you may now unmute.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking on item number 50. I don't have my glasses on. So 54, the Main and Broadway shade in the amount of $230,600. We were not recommended for funding. We would like reconsideration if possible. The Main and Broadway shade is is related to the northwest corner of Broadway, 300 South, and Main Street, which is probably among, if not probably the most dangerous corner in the central business district. Part of that, I think, is because there's no activation there, and there's a vacant building between Third South and Second South, and so we think that activating this area, which was also requested by the Broadway Towers, we think would be a great benefit to the downtown and the CBD. And we'd love your reconsideration for the installation of some improvements on that corner. And then the owners of the Clift building have indicated that they would add some seating, outdoor seating as well for the restaurants to really activate the area and make it a safe corner. Thank you for your consideration.
Next will be Ada Scanchief, followed by Samuel Rowan, and then Josh Quigley. Ada is here in person.
Hi, I'm Ada. I'm also a sixth grader who's going to seventh. I'm on the mountain bike team, and I like to bike and like hike in nature. And there's like a lot of trails, but they're all like really uphilly, and I don't like uphill. But and yeah, so like I just like being in nature, and it's just like fun, and like there's a lot of fresh air, and you can cool down in the summer, and so yeah, I just know I just like being outside. And yeah, there's like a lot of neighborhood roads that like you can like go bike in the neighborhood, but like there's always cars, and it's like kind of dangerous. And just like when you're in the mountains, there's like aren't cars, and like there's just like yeah, and then yeah, I just kind of like I don't know. I feel like if we want to like don't want to like make trails because it's like will like be like not dangerous, just like kind of like ruin like nature. But I think that, like, why would you like try to preserve nature if you can't go be in it? And yeah.
And next will be Samuel Rowan, followed by Josh Quigley, and then Elizabeth Barrows. Samuel is here in person.
Hello, thank you for your time. My name is Samuel Rowan, and I'm a resident in District 4 on the street of 2100 South. And I've been asking the city for at least 5 years now to consider in the budget installing speed bumps on our street. It's been a big problem with many cars speeding down the street in the residential area. On top of that, we have a lot of diesel trucks that drive down our street when they shouldn't be. So we also respectfully request to have a street sign installed at the top of our street that's on Foothill Drive, prohibiting diesel trucks from driving down our street. And I think also the speed bumps would deter them from doing that. But we have a lot of children on our street. I have 3 myself, and it would benefit all of our neighbors. I went from door to door asking all my neighbors, all homeowners, if they agreed with this, and they're all in agreement that we desperately need speed bumps for the safety of not just our children, but of our community. And I respectfully request that the city council put this in the budget. It would definitely benefit everybody on our street, especially because our street can't handle diesel truck drivers going down it. It's just not made for that. So thank you for your time, and we appreciate it.
Next will be Josh Quigley, followed by Elizabeth Barrows. Josh, you may now unmute.
My name is Josh Quigley, and I am a board member for the East Central Community Council, co-leading our Neighborhood CIP Applications and Urban Tree Committee. We wanted to discuss item G19, the 1200 East Island reconstruction that unfortunately was not selected for CIP funding this year, as well as the past 3 years. We speak to you today to advocate for funding for a modified version of this project in order to preserve our mature trees and prevent continued tree death. The lack of raised curbs on these street islands allows cars to park on the islands during university football games, damaging grass and repeatedly breaking sprinkler heads. These broken sprinkler heads are preventing watering of new trees, seeing yearly replacement of dead, newly planted trees, dead grass, in addition to the dieback of our existing mature large trees. This issue represents a repeated high maintenance and high expense issue for parks and facilities that requires constant repair and has been identified internally as a high priority repair project. This simple repair of existing infrastructure, a curb replacement, has an oversized impact on the health and preservation of our urban tree canopy. We request funding for this simple curb repair of existing infrastructure in order to prevent the continued die-off of mature trees in Salt Lake City, as well as support the mayor's office goal of an expanded tree canopy. We would love to see the pedestrian safety, turf grass reduction, and native pollinator pocket garden elements for this project included as originally proposed, but at a minimum, we must prevent continued tree death and would like to see the curbs replaced at a bare minimum. Thank you for your time.
And next will be Elizabeth Barrows, who is here in person.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Barrows, and I just want to speak generally about the parks. I'm an avid user of the Bonneville Shoreline Trail and really want to say that we're very pro increasing that trail line and continuing the budget. Just anything you can put into it. There's tons of people who use it and a lot of people who really, really appreciate having access to that. As well, I wanted to comment on the mayoral budget consideration of adding surveillance, as in permanent camera fixtures, as well as temporary cameras to the parks. This does not, this would not actually add to the safety of the parks statistically. And what really brings community safety is community involvement. So I think that the idea of spending lots and lots of money on permanent fixtures would not actually prevent crime or make people feel safer. Instead, that money should be allocated to more programs for people to be outside, more improvements to get people onto those trails so that there's more of a community and not the need for an invasive thing like cameras. Thank you for your time.
That was the final. Oh, there is one more person. That will be Joseph Murphy, who is here in person.
Good evening, Council. I serve on the CDCIP board, and while I serve there, I'm speaking as a private citizen tonight and not representing that board. As someone that puts in a lot of effort in reviewing these applications one by one, visiting each of the sites, scoping out the traffic conditions myself, I would like to recommend for future councils or future budgets, potentially a change in how we do the CIP process. I think it's most applicants, when they go through this process, have an opportunity and optimism to be able to put their project, their needs, their boots on the ground needs, and apply for that, but maybe not fully realizing that the funding comes mostly from the general funds. And so when they learn that how the city's need for a new fire department training center, or a new bridge to avoid potential, dilapidation of critical infrastructure around the city. How do their project around speed humps in their specific neighborhood, which is very valid and tangible for them, has that rank against some major infrastructure on the city? So what I would ask for consideration is that there be an apportionment of the general budget for particular constituent applications, so that it's not a one-for-one choice, because these residents feel tangible need.
And that was the final registered commenter for these items.
Thank you, Taylor. And thank you to everyone who made a comment.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move the council close the public hearing on items G6 through G20 and refer them to a new public hearing on June 3rd, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dugan and a second from Young. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are you there? There he is. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. This moves us on to potential action items. Item H1 is an ordinance for budget amendment number 5 for fiscal year 24-25. Do we have anyone bold enough to make a motion on this?
Madam Chair, I move that the council not adopt item I2, contribute to the Mead Avenue underpass in the period.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest a legislative intent. And the intent reads as follows.
Can I pause? Is this appropriate at this point in the motion?
Sorry, I apologize. I did not hear Dan's, what was Dan's motion?
Not
He is
adopt.
suggesting we not adopt the Mead Avenue
Okay, so I
underpass.
think that needs to be voted on before an alternate
Okay.
idea is proposed. Or if he's willing to accept a friendly amendment to add a legislative intent.
Yes, Dan, will you let me verbalize this, or do you want to call for the vote?
Sure, we can. I'll put the.
You're open to a friendly amendment?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dan. I would like to suggest an amendment to your motion, not to adopt, an added legislative intent, and the intent reads as follow. It is intent of the council to allocate $14,000, $2,000 per district, from fund balance to the community and neighborhoods budget for FY26. The purpose of these funds will be to request the Arts Council to create a public arts program for small and fast district-based placemaking projects that, 1, pursue and facilitate public-private partnerships, feature an equitable and transparent process, and include the input of the respective council members. Further, it is the intent of the council, the administrative staff report on the progress of this program by December 2025.
Can you accept that amendment? Yes. And then Councilmember Pui counts as the second. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, can I just ask a question?
Hang on, let me make sure I know where my second is, and then we'll go to discussion.
I second it.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councilmember Dugan. I have a second by Pui. Councilmember Wharton.
So, since the legislative intent that Councilmember Pui has suggested would seem to also cover the item I3, the Art in District 4, would we not want to vote on that at the same time, or do they need to be?
So are you friendly amending again?
I guess so. I'm saying
I'll make a amendment to my motion that I move that the council not adopt items I2 and I3
with the legislative intent,
and including the legislative intent from Councilmember Pui.
Councilmember Pui, do you continue to second this motion?
I do.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on it? Yes, Councilwoman Young.
I would like to move to divide the motion.
oh man.
Y'all, we are testing Robert and his rules of order. Let's go. Okay.
I'm okay with dividing the motion. Yes, I'm fine with that.
Is there are you concerned with which portion of the motion carries the legislative intent? Or are you okay with either?
I mean, I will say from a conceptual standpoint, I think that the legislative intent is paired with motion 2 in terms of the discussion about art, not motion 1 related to the underpass, but I don't have a strong opinion on which one it's paired with.
We are so far in this rabbit hole that I need someone to help me unravel. From what I can see, we have a motion, 2 friendly amendments, and now
A motion to divide.
a motion to divide.
I mean, the attorney can weigh in. I don't think it's a motion to divide. I think you would have to request a friendly amendment that undoes Councilmember Wharton's friendly amendment. And then Councilmember Dugan would have to decide which friendly amendment he would like to accept, either voting together or voting separately.
Cage match on these friendly amendments.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to Councilmember Wharton's friendly amendment.
That would divide.
That would go back to Councilmember Dugan's original motion, which was just to vote on item I2 and include Councilmember Pui's legislative intent.
May I ask a question?
We're in discussion stage. Go.
We're at this discussion stage. Councilmember Pui, would you rather have your legislative intent be on motion 2 or motion 1?
So can I just share that it functionally does not matter?
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, ultimately, I think there is a conceptual, Madam Chair, sorry for jumping in without asking for permission. Ultimately, you know, it is true that it doesn't matter, but the intent here is to create a path that could accomplish both of those things, but but the council doesn't become the administration. Then we create a path through the administration to accomplish these goals and to ensure that there is a transparent process that follows the city policy. So ultimately, this legislative intent is to hopefully accomplish similar projects and supporting this sort of train of thought that the council members had. But going back to the administration where these things should happen.
Thank you, Councilmember Pui, for that clarification. So then, Councilmember Dugan, I think the option before you is to revert to the first friendly amendment, which is item I2 with the legislative intent, or to choose the friendly amendment that marries I2, I3, and the legislative intent.
I think I'm just going to go with my first motion.
The first motion.
I move that the council not adopt I2 contributing to the Meade Avenue underpass, period. I need a second. Yes.
Okay, so you're doing just I2 with the legislative intent? Councilmember Pui, do you continue to second that? Oh, Councilwoman Young did. Never mind, Councilwoman Young did. You're good.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
can we clarify where we're at in the motion, please?
So we are now voting on the motion to not adopt item I2 with the legislative intent as described by Councilmember Pui and in our motion sheet. That's the current motion on the floor.
Okay, so is it time for discussion on?
Yes, sir.
I am willing to support the motion not to adopt I2 with just the statement that my decision on that is related to the $50,000 that we learned about today in the CRA budget, upcoming year CRA budget that will go to that same project. So because of that additional amount coming from the CRA, I feel comfortable saying that that will cover the gaps that are needed and support that project. And so I'm okay supporting the motion not to adopt I2 at this point.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lopez Chavez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur. Again, I think I just want to recognize that Meet Up, the nonprofit, the 501c3 that is helping support this and is contributing to a lot of the work of the Mead Avenue underpass, did underwrite and sign contracts to start construction, very well knowing that the funding that CRA gave to this project didn't fully cover construction costs. So there still is a capital gap, but I'm willing to support this since we are contributing an excess amount in this next fiscal cycle. But I do want to have the understanding that there still is a capital gap in this project. And in the future, I would prefer that we consider those full capital gaps if we're going to start funding projects like this so that volunteers and community members aren't left with the bill and having to fundraise outside of the CRA. Thank you.
Councilmember Wharton.
I thought that what Councilmember Young was saying was that you wanted to separate them because you thought the legislative intent made more sense to go with motion 2. Did I?
And I clarified sort of separately, sorry, that I believe the legislative intent also covers things like placemaking. So,
Okay.
and functionally speaking, you're asking the administration to come back with a like a proposal. And so it really doesn't matter which item it's attached to.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. I think I was thinking probably another discussion that was happening at the same time. And then I thought that's why Councilmember Young was making a confused face. But okay, so thanks for clarifying. My points to this would be, I think both of these projects are very worthy of our consideration. I understand the desire to want to move quickly on them, but like I said at our work session meeting 2 meetings ago, I won't be supporting either I2 or I3. I do support the legislative intent, and I just want to make sure that when we're doing these types of things, when we're committing taxpayer dollars to things that are in the Meade Avenue context are publicly owned, but that there is a private group that's involved with trying to fundraise and facilitate it. And then in the case of I3, that it's going to a privately owned piece that would be on private property. I think that we need to have a more thorough and transparent process when we're committing tax dollars to those things. So that's just my thoughts on this. That's how I'll be voting. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead since we're all discussing anyway. I'm actually eager because I do think that you're right with the confluence of the private into the public is a place where things get murky. I mean, even though it's on private property, it is for public consumption because it's visible, right? And all those nuances need to be ironed out. My hope is that with this legislative intent, we're able to ferment the public-private partnerships that can catalyze these things and do so without an overly burdensome process while promoting that transparency. And that's the reason why I am happy with where we've landed here. It is not because I want to see either of these projects not go forward, but I do think with public dollars, there's a level of transparency that if we can promote that, that's our job. Councilmember Dugan, I think you're the only one who hasn't spoken. Did you want to say anything to this? Oh, sorry, Councilmember Pui. You can think more of Dugan while Pui speaks.
He does look very pensive right now.
He does. Councilmember Pui?
Oh, thank you. Ultimately, I think that this, what I understood from Councilmember Manos' comments were that the Meade Avenue, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Meade Avenue project seems to be moving forward. There is funding. We learn about new funding coming in. So we feel strongly about, the contribution of the city. And that was a question that I had. And unfortunately, because I'm not there, I couldn't see your face and I'm trying to understand what you were saying. So it's my fault. But the other thing I wanted to highlight is that this creates a process that is transparent, that accomplishes the goals that we want to see in our city, with placemaking and pieces of art. But it also clarifies that their communications budget is different than this, right? So we're creating a path for these projects to fulfill the needs of our districts in a more equitable way and transparent way, without we tapping in our communications budgets.
Thank you, Councilmember Pui. Councilmember Dugan, did you want to say anything?
Thank you very much for the discussion. I look at both these projects and I think that they're valuable. I love the vision. I love the inputs, but we need to develop a good, solid, firm policy. And I think that's the intent here for using these public dollars. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
Oppose.
I love this. All right, that it passes with 6 in favor and with Councilmember Young opposing. We have another motion to make.
Madam Chair, I move that the council not adopt item I3.
And I think it would be, if you intend to close out discussions on the budget amendment, it would be appropriate to consider that motion as well, motion number 3. Unless you wanted to leave the budget amendment open for potential future needs.
Yes, I would like to also close budget amendment number 5 and to add even more specification that I am asking to close it with the same legislative intent that we just considered for item I2.
Second.
I have a motion from, excuse me, a motion from Councilmember Wharton with a second from Dugan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right. Thank you. That was, hey friends, that was some intense Robert's Rules work. I'm proud of us. All right. This brings us to the potential action item section. Oh, no, we just did that one. I don't want to go back there. So now this brings us to the comments section. We'll start with our mayor. Mayor Lindsay, thank you for being here. Anyone have any questions for the mayor? We're letting you off the hook today, easy. All right. We're now at the general comment portion of our agenda. This is for the public to comment on any city business not scheduled for a public hearing. This section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and to only those individuals who registered to speak before 7:30. Our meeting rules apply to these general comments. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling. They are not helpful to create a respectful and safe environment. To sign up to comment on any hearing items, please register online or turn in a comment card to the in-person staff. We accepted those signups until 7:30. We will be calling the names in the order of sign-up. If you are on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or on Zoom for staff assistance. If you're having technical issues in Zoom, our staff member Daffodil Booker can assist you. To help make sure that as many people as possible can speak during the hour, anyone in person should feel free to come up and stand in line when you hear your name called. Please also avoid disruptions so that we can use the time for as many people to comment as possible. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, please notify council staff who will assist you. Taylor, you can begin with our first general comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have about 6 people registered to speak. The first will be Judith Murphy, followed by Chanel Hill, and then Austin Joseph. Judith is here in person.
Good evening, Mayor Mendenhall and council members. My name is Judith, and I live in the Rio Grande neighborhood. I love our community's human scale character, the walkability, the historic building, and the sense of place and people over profit. I met a guitar man at the park today. I'm here asking you to pause any rezoning or upzoning until a complete infrastructure study is done on roads, water, sewer, schools, and parking. That data should be public and accessible. Maintain current height limits so that new buildings can reflect the existing scale and of our neighborhood. Require a full environmental impact study under NEPA and Utah law to analyze traffic, air quality, runoff, and parking, and the impacts on our historic district. And finally, to hold a public hearing focused solely on the Rio Grande plan with proper notice so that every voice in our community has the chance to be heard. Right now, our neighborhood already struggles with parking shortages, displacement, and increasing development pressure near the station. pushing through high density towers without these proper studies will only make that worse. We're not against growth, but it must be respectful. Thank you.
Next will be Chanel Hill, followed by Austin Joseph, and then Matthew Reardon. Chanel is here in person.
Good evening, council members. My name is Chanel and I'm the founder of Stand Against Fear and Exploitation, or SAFE. I'm a 501(c) nonprofit working across Utah to protect communities from abuse and expose organizations to use status or faith as a shield from accountability. I'm here tonight because I'm going city to city and I will not stop until change has happened. Recently, Wanda Barzee, a convicted sex offender who helped kidnap 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart, was found entering 2 public parks, violating her offender registry conditions. Utah treated this as a Class A misdemeanor. This means a fine of up to $2,500 and 364 days in jail. No mandatory sentence and no felony. And the most alarming part, when she was confronted, she told the police the Lord commanded her to. The same excuse she said when she kidnapped that little girl. This is not just a violation, it's a direct threat, and the data backs it up. According to the Utah Commission on Criminal Justice, high-risk sex offenders reoffend at the rate of 22% in our state. Former U.S. John Hubbard stated that his experience in recidivism rate in our state is 60 to 80%. This isn't a matter if they reoffend, it's when. Salt Lake City currently has 3,520 registered sex offenders. That's 1 person every 55 residents. We cannot allow our laws to remain lenient. I urge the council to stand with SAFE, to support stronger local protections, and advocate for a statewide reform. Make it clear our children are not our commodities, and they're not up for our offenders to be in our parks. Thank you.
And next will be Austin Joseph, followed by Matthew Reardon, and then Ricardo Mejias. Austin is here in person.
Great. Hello, council, mayor's office, and staff. My name is Austin. I just wanted to take a second to thank you all for all your hard work. We see all of your efforts. It's very late. This has got to be rough. So what I wanted to go ahead is, now that you are discussing the budget, to ask you to reconsider 2 line items. There's a lot of great stuff in this budget, but 2 things I think are concerning. Number 1 is the crime monitoring and response technology, the installation of permanent camera fixtures in Salt Lake City parks, as well as the expansion of overnight park security at East and West parks. These are $500,000 and $35,000 for the cameras. When the Salt Lake Tribune asked about this, and ACLU of Utah gave a statement, mass surveillance techniques and tools often reinforce and increase disparities in our criminal legal system, violating civil rights and liberties under the guise of keeping the public safe. So I ask that when we make this choice, that we are exploring all avenues, including responses that are not as invasive, such as lighting conditions in our parks. Councilmember Wharton, in this Salt Lake Tribune article, you had mentioned that you were going to reference the camera issue to the Racial Equity and Policing Commission. That website hasn't been updated. I'm looking forward to seeing if that's updated and hearing their recommendations. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And next will be Matthew Reardon, followed by Ricardo Mejias, and then Ian McCubbin. Matthew, you may now unmute.
Okay. You got me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Matthew Reardon. I am a journalist, a constitutional rights advocate. I'm here today to sound the alarm on a dangerous precedent unfolding right here in Salt Lake City. Starts at 660 South 200 East in a building where both the Mexican consulate and the Department of Homeland Security leased space to serve the public. A little over a week ago, I entered that building peacefully, camera in hand, to document a matter of public concern. I was calm, I was silent, I was doing my job. A short time later, I was confronted by an unhinged private security guard, put on speakerphone with a building manager who threatened me with jail and then trespassed by Salt Lake City police officers after being forced to show ID under threat of arrest. This happened inside a building with federal signage clearly citing the rules and regulations governing conduct on federal property. I did nothing illegal. No disruption, no disorder, just journalism. And yet I was targeted, not for what I did, but for who I am and what I represent. Accountability. That is a viewpoint discrimination. That is retaliatory policing. And that is unconstitutional. The city of Salt Lake cannot look the other way when its officers enforce private whims against protected rights, especially on federal ground. It cannot continue deputizing private building managers to silence journalists and intimidate dissent. I'm here today not just to inform you, but to warn you. A federal lawsuit is being filed, and this time there will be no backdoor deals, no quiet settlements, and no forgetting. This city will answer for what it allowed. And every person in this room will have to decide, do you stand with the Constitution or against it? My camera captured it all. The lawsuit will expose it all. And the people, your people, deserve to know the truth.
And next will be Ricardo Mejias, followed by Ian McCubbin. Ricardo is here in person.
I'll keep it short and sweet. My name is Ricardo Mejias. I live in District 2. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all the hard work that you guys have done with the Calm Your Streets program. That has done immensely helpful traffic calming, which I live on 9th West. It's amazing. And so I just want to also invite everybody, East and West Side residents, to tomorrow at the open house for the We Connect meeting at Edison Elementary School over at 430 South Cheyenne Street, South Salt Lake. So we would love, I am a sitting CAB board member, and so I would like for everyone to come out and just provide some insight on ways for us to hopefully come up with a good proposal to bring to you guys. That's pretty much it.
And lastly will be Ian McCubbin. Ian, you may now unmute.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm a member of District 3, Councilmember Wharton's. Appreciate the support Councilmember Wharton and the Salt Lake City Fire Department have given us regarding the City Creek fire shed that's located directly behind our homes on the Upper Avenues area. I'm actually currently calling in from Altadena, California, where I work, and hundreds of my colleagues were lost homes and were evacuated during the Eaton Canyon fire. For the last 7 years, I've been bringing this to the attention of the city of Salt Lake, and I feel that the lack of response from public lands and public utilities that manage the fire shed of the City Creek Canyon has been unacceptable, quite frankly. And there is a real risk to an urban conflagration fire occurring in the upper avenues associated with the City Creek fire shed. This is owned and operated by the city of Salt Lake, and there has been, except for Councilmember Wharton and the Salt Lake City Fire Department, there's been zero action from public lands and public utilities regarding the risk to our homes, and our homes are at threat of building into a large-scale structure-to-structure fire from the city-owned mismanaged property. And I would like the city council to adopt a more proactive approach, including designating areas as WUIs, because it's not only the upper avenues that are at risk, there's other areas in the East Bench, Immigration Canyon. And quite frankly, we are running a real risk in this extremely dry winter that we will see a major fire in the Salt Lake City area. And we have watched over and over again these utility sparked fires that have caused massive damage and massive home loss. Many of us are losing our homeowners insurance, and I would like the city council to take action on this front.
That was the final register commenter.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you to everyone who commented. We have no new business. We have no unfinished business. So this brings us to the consent portion of our agenda. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Wharton and a second from Councilwoman Lopez Chavez. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
God, are you still there?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously, and we are adjourned.